Hey, what's up, Mike? How you doing, sir?
What up, Mike? I'm really good. I'm really good. How about you?
Man, I'm doing great. I mean, you have been through some things in the last week, though. Can you tell us a little bit about what the hell's going on in Utah, bro?
There's this little thing called COVID going around again, and I got it. I went to the Utah State Fair. I don't know if that's where I got it, but whatever. Yeah, I've been down and out for the last 5 days, 6 days or so.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling better now. So
Good,
happy to be
man.
getting back into some conversation with you.
Hell yeah, I'm happy that you're feeling better, bro. I was you were in pretty rough shape, and I was like, this dude either like is hungover or he definitely has the vid, and sure enough, positive test results.
The vid, indeed. Yeah. Well, that whole time that I was attempting to lay in bed and just rest. I had a lot of time to think, and I'm pretty sure I listened to at least a couple of our episodes again. So yeah, man. I mean, on the one hand, it was a bummer and really sucked, but on the other hand, with any negative circumstances, like there's some positive to it. Slowing down, getting some rest, having that time to just sort of mull on things and also do nothing. But it was good. It was good in that sense. So
nice, man. I'm glad you got some rest. Unfortunate that it was in the case of COVID, but I'm glad that you got to clear.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was
bit.
going around again. Like I mean, maybe I've been under a rock or something, but I was just like thrown off by that entirely.
It's definitely going around again. It's full out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I wanted to ask you a question, and this is a very familiar question.
Yeah.
We gotta leave some space for this question. This is like the beginning of like, the not known, it's time we revisit the infamous question. So Mike, I want to ask you.
Oh.
What is love, Mike?
What is love? I'm glad we're coming back around on this, Mike, because this is a question that is perpetual as far as I'm concerned. Probably changes day by day based on the circumstances.
Definitely.
So my current answer, my momentary response to that question is, love is the eternal connective tissue of all of life. It goes beyond any one context. It goes beyond romance or loving your family or your dog or whatever. I think what I'm speaking to, how I see it right now, is this like a more conceptual idea of it, but it's the thing that holds everything, all of that, all of the pieces of life together. I mean, like a frog loves a pond, like that's where my head is at with it at the moment, which maybe isn't surprising at all, considering I've just spent 5 days just pontificating. But aside from that, like in my own personal context, like I see that definition of love through my own experience of being sick and of being taken care of by my amazing partner. Like even though we couldn't engage with each other, we couldn't hug, we couldn't really talk without having these stupid masks on. Like it was remarkable to see how much she was still willing and able to provide and to take care of me when I needed it. So even though it was tough, there was still that connection and that thing that surpassed the circumstances. I guess that's where my head's at with it. What are you thinking?
Shoot, man, like, it's so difficult, Mike. The love question is always difficult. So if I could tell you right now what is love for me, I think it would be the ability to care for something that you don't naturally enjoy, to be able to look at it and find the goodness in it, even still.
I see.
It is a relentless pursuit of understanding and an open heart and a growth mindset and the ability to transcend the initial emotional instinctive feeling and whatever that may.
Wait. Say that again. Like that. Say it again.
Yeah. So just the ability to like overcome and like essentially temper the initial emotional feeling.
Hmm.
It's that much grace it is, to me.
Mm.
It's the epitome of it. It's
Wow.
just trying to understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you saying that it goes beyond the emotional experience, like having the ability to see that?
Yeah.
That's when you're really tapping into love and what it
That's
is?
when you're tapping in. Yeah, when you can, like, separate your initial emotional thought or reaction,
Mm.
to a thing that you feel passionate about, either one way or the other. I think, historically we've learned that love is, there's a movie. It's like there's a thin line between love and hate. I don't know if you watched
Yeah.
that one before.
Uh,
That's a
yeah, I'm familiar. I haven't seen it, but yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's that. It's realizing that something may not be, favorable at the time. It may not be the most opportune time. It may not be the most acceptable situation, but that you can still find a positive in that.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
allowing yourself the freedom to think about it in different aspects, as opposed to just feeling negatively towards it, or angry or hateful.
Yeah.
It's it's
Yeah.
just, yeah, the ability to process things on a higher level, because
Yeah.
vibrational
Yeah,
frequencies.
exactly. Dude, I think our responses are working together here in a cool
Yeah,
way. I mean, that that has to that like different perspective on it, beyond the
yeah,
emotional experience that we have when it comes to engaging with other people, things that happen in our lives, whatever. Like that, it's required, to overcome the emotions of it.
absolutely.
And for
Yeah,
love, in a way, what I think what we're saying is like love is not necessarily an emotion. That's compelling, man. Like I
yeah,
think
it definitely is.
it gets to the finer point of it. And also, like, it makes me think, like, is it easier or is it harder with that definition to kind of embody it, this idea?
It's Yeah, it's harder. It's harder because
Mm,
you have to. So the way I thought about love before, and I think we thought this, was just like this overwhelming feeling, right? So if we take what we know already, it's like emotion is like the body,
yeah.
right? And then when you think about like your thoughts or whatever, that's usually triggered by the mind. Like when you think about love and you feel it, that's the body, that's emotion. But when you
Hmm.
think about it, it's actually the definition of love. So you have to separate the two. If mentally you're thinking like, I don't like this person, like he sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and like you have to be able to separate the difference between, I don't like what you're doing right now, or I
Mhm.
don't like you as a person. I may not like your actions right now, but I still love you deeply, you know?
Yeah. It's sort of giving a richer quality to love itself, and that's
Yeah.
harder to tap in. I mean, that's harder to, yeah, tap into. I mean, like when you
Yeah.
have that emotional experience, I mean, I don't know, like my head spins. I'm like, oh my god, like I don't feel any of that love. There's no, but again, that's the point. It's like there's this kind of implied faith that when those words are spoken, and when really that feeling is there of a loving connection, like that can last regardless of emotions and things like that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And that is difficult, but I think when one realizes that, it's like even more rewarding than just being like, yo, romantic love is sick, you know, like I have this person who's fulfilling my emotional needs at times. Cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's sick. And I'll take it back to Joe Dispenza. He has this quote
Mm.
that says that, thoughts are the language of the brain and feelings are the language of the body.
Ah,
So if
yeah.
you think
Oh,
about it like that,
yeah, dude.
yeah, it's
Dude,
deep,
actually,
right?
that has me. I was just thinking earlier today about how funny it is that our bodies have these processes that we just have to
Hmm.
like accept and pay attention to, and if
Yeah.
we don't, then
Right.
bad things happen. And like at the same time, we live in a society that a lot of times is just like there's like this distinct separation. You don't pay
Yeah.
attention to your body like that. But like your
Right.
emotions and how your brain feels or whatever, like that's the one that you really need to
That's the
focus
one
on.
that you
But
exactly.
yeah, they have
Yeah.
their own languages,
They
and
have their own languages.
there's like a harmony between them that
It definitely
that can
is.
be found. And like that harmony thing, do you have like an example of that in your life? Like a story or something where like that was apparent to you, like the love beyond the emotions kind of thing?
Yeah, it's so weird because it's you ever had a gut feeling about something? Or
Oh yeah.
have you ever met somebody and it moved you in a certain way where you were like, I am completely infatuated with this person? And let's be honest, it could have just been like arousal or
Yeah.
like you find them like really attractive, like so beautiful, and you're like,
Hmm.
oh, I definitely desperately want to be in conversation with this person near
Yeah.
or actively touching or kissing or
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. It may just be engaging in conversation. That's for me all prompted by the body.
Hmm.
So in church, let's
Uh,
take it biblical now. Let me stop
oh.
preaching. They would say that's the flesh, right?
Yeah.
It's so interesting how these things intertwine. They would say that's the flesh. So
Hmm.
if you think about the brain, or the body feelings, it's mostly related to the flesh, just the physical nature of it all.
Yeah.
But when you look at a whole picture, a lot of times the model that you see may not have all the qualities you want, but the
Hmm.
physical part of her definitely does. But maybe when
Yep.
you sit down and have a conversation, you can say, this person is really a beautiful person. I really respect them and I value their opinions and thoughts, but
Hmm.
they're not the one for me.
Yeah.
That's the separation of the brain and then the body, of course.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
like, upon further consideration, like you start to realize, like, okay, all right, this is the language
Yeah.
of the flesh or the body,
Right.
whatever. Man, those things can be extremely confusing. I mean, but
Yeah.
that like going back to like the original "What is love" conversation that
Yeah.
we were having
Love is
back then,
complicated,
dude, it's
man.
complicated, man. And like, I mean, I kind of want to listen to them again, like those first conversations. I'm gonna give
Yeah.
it some more
Me
space,
too.
but like,
Yeah.
it's really compelling to me that um, all that stuff that you're talking about was like stuff I was like in that arena with those things
Yeah.
for a while. And I mean, like we all get in these ebbs and flows of that. But
100%.
like being there and trying to focus on like, all right, let me pull myself away from the sense experience for a second and like
Yeah.
look in, see like what my sense of love is for myself and like and then what that means for other people. And yeah, it's a fascinating thing. And I'm curious if this sort of thing is something that like the typical person discusses or talks about or sees in the world.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, man. What do you think about that? Do you think that people
Ah.
perceive it this way? Like we've talked to people, but what's your take at the moment?
I wanna say yes. I wanna
Mm,
say yes, because the optimistic part of me wants to believe that most people do think about love and
mm-hmm,
and in every sense of the word. The reality of that is I think people have less time than they used to.
mm,
So they tend to gravitate towards the items that consume the most of their time. It's like we get it. We have addictive personalities, right? We get addicted to scrolling on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, and
yeah,
honestly, I think we're a society that devotes more of its time and attention to the things that give us instant gratification, maybe
yeah,
not the things that are reflective that can teach you about your own self love.
yeah.
So as a society, we're a bit conflicted.
Hmm.
And I can only hope that there's an opportunity for us to get back to basics and self-care and love.
Yeah, me too. I think that the thing that helps me stay present with that idea of it is honestly like just talking about it like this. That's
Yeah.
kind of why I was asking the question of like, do people talk about it this way? And yeah, because I was thinking like, how do you maintain that like by yourself or like within a
Yeah.
relationship or whatever? And I don't know, man. Like it seems to me that just airing it out, like talking about it, exploring, having
Yeah.
dialogue, like that alone is really helpful. And
Yeah.
that's what's happened with me in my life. Talking to you about all this stuff and talking to other people in these places we've been and getting people's feedback from the voice memos, like that whole thing was this like experiment and really getting to the nitty gritty of recognizing what we're talking about right now, which is cool. It's
Yeah.
it's really cool to notice that that worked basically, at least for me. you
I
know.
agree, man. I definitely agree. So if we talk about like what is the meaning of love, we also have to cover like what is, well, and this is like a revisiting. So we've been through quite a few changes, like
Hmm.
things in our lives, like new adjustments. I mean, all these things that can take you away from the thing that you care about the most, right? I mean, and also it could really remove you from yourself.
Yeah, totally.
Like, forgetting like, if you forget yourself, dude, I meditated the other day for 5 minutes as a part
Hmm.
of my self-love regimen,
Yeah.
right? And only for 5 minutes, like, that's not a long time. That's like
But
sometimes,
that's
it's
good
sometimes
though,
a
man.
cough can go on for 5 minutes.
Gotta start somewhere.
So yeah, yeah. So what's funny is I have to release myself to meditation.
Mm,
I am a love to be in control type of person, especially of my own destiny, right?
yeah. Yep.
And it's
Yep.
funny because as I was trying to practice this like self-love through meditation, I felt myself relaxing in stages. It's like for 2 minutes, bro, no freaking joke. My mind ran rampant. I must have thought about socks and sneakers and
Oh
underwear.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And then I took a deep breath and I was like, okay, I'm getting into. And then for another 2 minutes, I thought about thinking about meditating.
Oh, there you go. Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
then in the final 30 seconds, I was like, "Oh, okay." And then the alarm went off, and I was like, "Oh,
Dude, that's about right. That's about right. I mean, like, that's the mind is a weird thing. Like,
It
especially when you
is.
have a pretty active one. So
Yeah.
that reminds me of like a lot of meditations that I've also done. But
Yeah, and it's
there's something cool about it. It's cool that you're able to notice those things and talk about it
yeah.
and reflect on it.
Heck yeah, man. Yeah, but just the love in itself, I think, is a constant journey. And as we grow, it will change. And the definition of what we believe it to be will change as well.
Yeah.
What do you think about, let me ask you this, like, like something that you've hated, let's say 2 to 3 years ago. Do you hate anything at this point in your life?
Oh, dude, that is a great question.
Anyone that you're having like you know
Man.
trouble loving in that sense?
Right now,
You don't have to name names, of course,
yeah, I
and if
mean,
you don't,
right
right,
now I don't have anybody or anything that I am actively hating. There are
yeah,
moments of hatred that I experience absolutely when I
yeah,
when I hear of certain things in the world or something like that, and to me, it's kind of like a visceral reaction to this, like, whoa, that is so off, that's so messed up, like that happens all the time, and like there's this feeling of like,
yeah.
like vitriol, like why does that have to exist? Why does that have to exist?
Yeah,
Why does that have to exist? Like that to me is
yeah,
is like an expression of hate. As far as like hate for another goes, um, I I had a little bit of an issue with that like several years ago with a certain
okay,
politician, and like I had this
yeah.
whole exploration where I was like, why do I hate this person? Like really, let
Yeah.
me look at this person, really judge why. Like let's see, and that kind of took me out of this like this headspace where I would allow myself to do that for any length of time.
Yeah,
But it's hard not to like feel those feelings when things go so far against your values. So for me, I think it's less about like maintaining any sort of hate because like I want it to kind of cycle out and like let it happen, but then cycle it out. But rather like having these sort of like experiences of the emotional hatred, I guess. And um,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. What about you? What do you think about that?
Um, so I'll give you an interesting one. Like, I mean, road rage is always fun, right? Like you,
Oh yeah.
yeah, right. So, I had this dude like completely cut me off the other day. Like it was blatant. I was like, okay, this is what we're doing, and I was so proud of myself.
Mm.
because in the moment I really wanted to stop the car and like get out and beat his ass, but I didn't because I'm a nonviolent person. One,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
two, I definitely like to keep my schedule, and I was on my way to work. And then
Yeah.
the third thing I realized was as an emotional person, and we're like empaths. We talk about that
Yeah.
too.
Yep.
We feel like a lot of things. We wear our feelings on our sleeve. To be in control of your feelings when you are aware in that state of awareness
Mhm.
is a very empowering thing.
Yeah.
So at that
Yeah.
moment, I knew I could feel myself getting riled up, and I was like, nope, not today.
Wow.
And part of that is I felt like I'd stole something. I was like,
Mm.
"Ooh, I'm in control.
Oh,
You can't
damn,
tell
that
me
makes
shit."
sense, man. Yeah.
Ah!
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. So that like gave me so much power and
Hmm.
energy. And I
Huh.
think because I didn't waste my energy towards something that truly I could do nothing about,
Yeah.
I got to savor that and love myself a little bit for that.
Dude, hell yeah. That's
Yeah, it
brilliant.
was great.
That's brilliant, man. It reminds me actually of a question that I posited. This is just popping up in like one of the earlier episodes about all this, where I was like, so
Yeah.
is it possible to, let's say you're in your car and like to respond to this situation in a way of love? And the situation was like some guy runs up and like smashes your windshield with a bat.
Yes, I
Do you
remember
remember that?
this.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I
and you
do,
were
this is a
like,
good one.
I mean, if that's possible, like that's some pretty fine emotional control. I mean, like it's no one smashed your car with a bat, but getting cut off is like an immediate trigger. So bravo to you, sir. It
100%.
sounds like it might be
Hey,
possible.
hey, my guy.
My guy, nice.
Yeah,
I
man,
mean,
that's great.
yeah,
Hell yeah.
I'm really glad to hear that, and because that's
Yeah,
like the
thanks,
most
man.
challenging thing to do for me as well when anything like that happens. So
Yeah,
I think it's dope, and I think it's inspiring for me personally to hear that. And this whole talk of love is great. I think we should keep coming back around on this.
100%.
Just as time goes on, see what happens, see how it progresses and changes. I dig this.
Yeah. Hell yeah, definitely. So yeah, this is a short one, guys. We just wanted to revisit. If you have some thoughts, if your life has
Mm,
changed in a way that you've been impacted negatively or positively
yeah.
by love in any certain circumstance or situation, send us an email. Tell us about it. Send us a
Yeah,
DM.
please do. Yeah, reach out to us on social media. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube now is where we're most active. But yeah, the email is the notKnownpodcast@gmail.com. I agree, Mike. I think we would both love to hear
Heck
some
yeah.
stories from some people.
And also, guys, look, we're a no judgment podcast. If you want to say you hate this asshole or her asshole or they asshole, you can say that. We won't
Please.
judge you. We
Nope.
just love the stories.
Yeah, we love the stories and we'll likely commiserate and yeah, just being candid and authentic is the thing here. So yeah, very much looking forward to hearing from all of you. And Mike, I'm looking forward
Absolutely.
to hearing from you next week or the week after that in the next conversations we have coming up, which should be amazing based on the plans. Really looking forward to it, dude.
Hell yeah, me too. Till next time, I'm Mike.
And I'm Mike. This is the Not Known
Bye.
Podcast. Bye.
Out. Peace.
Peace.